I sat on the edge of the hospital bed twisting the thin white blanket in my hands. My body felt hollow as if something essential had been scooped out of me. The silence pressed down on my chest. The nurses had stopped coming. The machines were gone. All that remained was the sound of my shallow breathing. For a fleeting moment I imagined my mother sitting beside me, stroking my hair the way she used to when I was little and sick with fevers. I thought maybe she would look at me and see more than what I had lost, see me not broken. Instead she leaned in and whispered words that cut deeper than the loss itself. At least one useless life took the hint. My hands froze on the blanket. My throat tightened but no tears came. It was as if my body had forgotten how to cry. Dad stood at the foot of the bed, arms crossed, face twisted in disgust. That womb should have closed years ago, he muttered, shaking his head as if I had committed some crime against him. I wanted to scream, to tear the four out of my arm and make them see the emptiness devouring me. Instead I just stared at the wall, silent, blank, because if I broke I knew they would only laugh, and I was right. Mom gave a bitter chuckle as she pulled her phone from her purse. She snapped a picture of me, pale and hollow, on the bed. Don't worry, she said, lightly tapping her screen. I'll delete it later. Just want proof that even tragedy could not make you worth anything. I turned my head slowly toward her. Her lipstick was perfect, her nails painted red gleamed under the hospital lights. She looked ready for a cocktail party, not a hospital room. Dad stepped closer, lowering his voice like he was giving me fatherly advice. Don't you dare make this about you. Melissa's recital is tomorrow. Don't embarrass us. People do not like a woman who wallows in failure. Failure, that is what they called it. The life that slipped out of me before I ever had the chance to hold it. Failure. I clenched the blanket so hard the stitches stretched under my grip. My body trembled, but not from grief anymore, from something darker, heavier. When the nurse came back with a chart, Mom straightened her blouse and put on her brightest smile. We are ready to take her home, she chirped. She does not need pity. The nurse gave me a soft look, but she did not argue. She did not see the knives behind their smiles. That night they made me sit through dinner as if nothing had happened. Melissa twirled in her chair, bragging about her recital dress. Mom praised her for looking angelic. Dad beamed with pride, sipping his drink. Then his eyes turned to me, sharp and narrow. Don't ruin it tomorrow. Don't let anyone see those swollen eyes. People already think you are pathetic enough. Melissa smirked, stabbing her fork into her chicken. Honestly, I do not even know why she tried to be a mom. She cannot even keep a plant alive. They laughed around, and around their laughter circled me, sharp, cutting, merciless. I sat still. I swallowed their poison, their cruelty, their words. I let them carve me into silence, but in that silence something else began to grow. Not grief, not weakness, a seed of rage, a seed that would not die. And as their laughter rang around the table, I lowered my gaze, hiding the faintest smile tugging at my lips, because they thought I was finished. They thought they had buried me with my baby. What they did not realize was that I was already planning how to bury their pride. The next morning the house buzzed with Melissa's excitement. She stood in the living room wearing a glittering gown, her hair curled tight, bouncing with every movement. Mom circled her like a stylist at a magazine shoot, tugging at straps, smoothing fabric, her face glowing with pride. You look perfect, sweetheart, Mom cooed. Everyone is going to talk about how radiant you are. Dad clapped his hands once like a coach approving his star athlete. Don't forget the opening bow. First impressions matter. I lingered in the doorway, still in wrinkled pajamas, my body heavy with loss. Not one of them turned to look at me. Not one asked if I had slept. I may as well have been a shadow. Melissa caught my eyes in the mirror and smirked. Try not to cry during the recital, okay? You will scare the little kids. We do not need your depressing face ruining the pictures. Mom laughed. Instead of scolding her, she is right. Don't sit in the front. I do not want anyone wondering why you look like death at a celebration. Dad straightened his tie, flicking his eyes at me just long enough to deliver the threat. If you even think about making this about yourself, I will make sure you regret it. Their words cut deep, same as the night before, but this time I did not flinch. I just nodded once, turned and walked upstairs in silence, and that silence, calm, deliberate, rattled them more than my tears ever could. In my room I opened the drawer where I had hidden a small box. Inside were scraps I had been saving for years. Not treasures, evidence, screenshots of texts where Mom called me a burden, a recording of Dad telling the neighbor I was a waste of space, a video of Melissa mocking me, calling me a failure. I never thought I would use them. I had only kept them to remind myself I was not imagining it, that their cruelty was real. But now, staring at the evidence in my hands, I realized it was not just proof, it was ammunition. That evening the recital hall buzzed with life. Families packed the rows, children chattered, parents fussed with cameras. Melissa stood backstage, glowing, waving to people who adored her. Mom and Dad sat proudly in the front row, their heads high, their smiles wide, basking in the glow of their golden child. I slipped into a seat in the back corner. The whispers started almost immediately. She looks pale. Did not she just lose the baby? Why is she even here? Each hissed comment dug into me, but I stayed still, my face blank, my hands folded neatly in my lap. The lights dimmed, the applause thundered as Melissa walked onto the stage. Dad leaned forward grinning like his life's work was unfolding in front of him. Mom clutched her pearls as if royalty had graced the room. Melissa bowed, her every move rehearsed to perfection. She spun, stepped and smiled as though the stage belonged to her. The audience adored her. But as I watched, something shifted in me. I did not see grace, I did not see beauty, I saw arrogance, I saw cruelty wrapped in satin. This was the girl who mocked my broken body, who laughed when my world shattered. This was the child they worshipped while tearing me apart. When the performance ended, the applause was deafening. Melissa curtsied, her eyes sweeping the crowd until they found me. They thought I was finished, they thought they buried me with my baby. What they did not know was that I was already planning how to bury their pride.